Welcome back to Rachel's Whimsical Art, and my name is Miss Rachel, and I'm going to show you today how we can do a scratch art, make our own scratch art piece of paper. And the design plan can be either an insect with a pattern all the way around it, or for my other class, instead of an insect, we did our project based off of cathedral windows like Notre Dame, or stained glass windows, I should say. Could be Notre Dame windows for the design, the outline shape of that window, or it could be some other great styles of stained glass windows like Art Nouveau. And so you can pick the frame or the idea of the shape of the outside black part and the lines in the middle to be your design base. And for the rose window, it's a bit more complicated, but even though it has all these shapes in the middle, I drew some of the shapes, but my design inside these shapes will be my own picture. I won't actually do the same picture as they have in Notre Dame. For the insect project, students got to pick what kind of insect they wanted, such as a dragonfly or a butterfly or a beetle. And so we learned how to draw those three insects, or others. If they had another idea, they could look up pictures to find another insect to draw as their focus. So you draw your design on a piece of paper. And it's a separate piece of paper because you're going to trace it. So I started with my design with pencil, and now inside each one of these areas, I am probably going to draw some other pattern inside them, such as I could do a wavy line, or I could do vines with leaves. So I get to pick what I want this to look like, okay? And that part has got to be drawn with pencil on a separate piece of paper before you do the scratch art part, okay? So once you've gotten your pattern figured out for your scratch art, then you get a new piece of paper in your journal. I'm using mixed media paper from, I like the Canson Mixed-Media paper because it's pretty heavy duty, and you can use it for acrylics and watercolors, as well as pencils and oil pastels. You have to make sure that your page is super thick with color all over it. And you can make your colors any way you want. You can choose what colors you want. You just want a lot of different variety. So one of the tips that I have that I'm telling all of my students is when you color it, you want to color your pastels very heavy on the paper. In other words, I don't want to draw and color light like this, because then there's not much showing, and when I scratch away at the paint to reveal the color underneath, it will not show me. Also, I need to fill in all the gaps. So if I have a gap, see, there's some white pieces of paper showing, I need to fill that in by coloring. Now I can color back and forth, I can color in circular motions, but I just want to fill that in. So, oops, that broke. So that I don't have any white paper showing, and that it's very thick, okay? And you can do any colors you want. Like I said, you can do green, blue, red. I just did every color that I have in my oil pastel set, okay? You can use any oil pastels you have. Pentel makes a good set that has a variety of colors that you can choose from too. I would suggest not doing white or black because you want your colors to be bright, and the black part will be the painted tempera paint part. Okay, so you can see that I started to scratch a design right here to give an example to someone like what it can look like. All right, so show you the next step after you get the oil pastels. So you fill everything in all the way around, so it's colored in, like this page is. This is completely colored in. And then you're gonna take your paper out, not out, I should say, you're going to take your paper and you're going to get a mixture of black tempera paint, So there's different kinds of tempera paint. I have Faber-Castell. I also like Crayola tempera, but you want to mix this 2-to-1 with Dawn soap. Because tempera by itself, while it can work, it may not scratch off evenly. And if you mix your paint with 1 part Dawn soap, 2 parts tempera paint, then it will be a good mixture and consistency for it to scratch off. So I did 1 coat of paint on this, and if you look closely, you can see little bits of color showing through in some of the areas. So I actually want to have 2 coats of paint. Let that one dry and put a second coat on. And you'll see, this is pretty liquidy. See, it's drippy. So you want to be careful. Don't let it drip off the page. But you do want to color the black all the way to the edge of the paper, so it's covering every bit of that oil pastel that you colored all over the page. So this is my second coating, and I'm going to get all of it painted on with the second coat. And then it's ready to scratch when it's dry. So that's the step of painting the tempera paint. Let that dry, like I said. And then you're going to take your drawing design and you're going to tape it onto the back of the paper like this, so you can start to trace the outline shape of your design onto the dried painted paper. And this is where I started to see the head or the outline shape of my dragonfly. So we're going to use a pencil and we're going to trace heavy lines back over your drawing, and it won't scratch the art off, it'll just trace it so you have an outline of where to go with your stylus tool to scratch away the design. Okay, so I did the head of this dragonfly, and you can barely see it. It's hard to see probably on the camera, but it is there. And so now I have an outline that will help me know where to go with my wooden stylus tool. So this is the stylus tool. It looks kind of like a chopstick. It's bigger than a toothpick for sure. But it's wooden and it's got a point on it, and it's gonna allow you to scratch away that picture. If you're not sure where to go, this is what I do. I refer back to my picture and go, okay, so what's next? I need to make those eyes. Because eyes didn't show up when I did a trace. And now I've got the arms and the body, the top of the body. So that's this part right here. And so I traced it again so I can see it a little better. It's probably going to be easier to see on a brighter day. Today is kind of cloudy, so it's hard to see what I drew. Now, the cool thing about scratching it now is that you can see the colors coming through, which is kind of neat. And it will get on the tip of your stylus, so you'll have to rub it off and probably get stuff on your hands. So here's my suggestion. Use the back of a piece of paper. Let me get my paper, it's all the way over there. Use the back of a piece of paper to put your hand on it while you scratch away the art, so that your hand doesn't get oil pastel on it, doesn't rub it away, and your skin doesn't rub off the color, because your skin has oils in it. You don't want to rub that away. So this is what I do to prevent it from rubbing off and onto my hand or rubbing away. Now I've got yellow underneath, so the yellow is coming through, and so is some orange. So this is the scratching part, but before you scratch away, I was just showing you quickly what it looks like. You should really trace heavily onto your design, all of your design onto the paper before you scratch it. So I'm pressing pretty heavy on the outside shapes of my wing. Any of those areas that are the outline shapes of your design, we should press pretty firmly. So that it shows through. So I'm going to do that all around my dragonfly, including my design of my border. So students who are doing insects, we're doing an insect and then we're doing a border around the outside, which is fun because you get to pick what your border is going to look like. And my border, I decided to have waves on the top and on the bottom, like water, because dragonflies are always found around bodies of water, like lakes. And then I designed something different for the sides of my frame. Now, the other thing about this that's cool is you can make more scratches in your pattern to show off more color. So I'm going to scratch away more color here so I can see over this little hill that I drew here some more color coming through. And there's going to be little flakes of the scratches coming off, so you can see that it's coming off onto my hand. Yeah, you're just going to dust that off onto your table and then clean it off later. Because see, it's getting on my hand. So again, go back to putting your hand on top of a scratch piece of paper to prevent it from getting all over you. It'll get a little dirty, but this will help prevent it from getting everywhere. So the more I scratch, the more color shows up, and the more black color I take off the top to reveal the colors underneath. Okay, so this is how you can make your own scratch art paper. You can buy scratch art paper, but it can be pricey if you're getting a bunch of it. If you're just getting a single pack for yourself, then you're probably going to get about 20 to 30 pieces of scratch paper in a package that can range anywhere from $15 to $25. You can get it at Michael's sometimes. I go to Dakota Art, or I go to Dick Blick and find it there. All right, so this is how we're going to get started. I'm going to show you the results when I'm done at the end of this video. Thank you, and be kind, let's shine. If you want to find me, you can find me on Rachel's Whimsical Arts on social media like Instagram and Facebook. And welcome back, and come back again, I guess, and share my video or my channel. I appreciate that. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.